Welcome back. Former Attorney General and Castries South candidate for the opposition United Workers' Party has been speaking out on the process that saw the selection of Mary Isaac as the party's candidate for Castries South in the pending general election. It was reported that Mary Isaac defeated Mr. Francis in a runoff in a landslide victory. However, Doddy Francis says he was not present at any apparent runoff and was unaware of the farce which is being purported as a candidate selection process. In a press statement, he said, inadvertently, but to the benefit of the party, the situation has prompted the re-examination of the candidate selection process. And as a united political entity, the intent is to correct evident flaws in the process whereby seeming representatives are selected in the absence of other contesting candidates. Mr. Francis met with the media late Thursday afternoon.
I did have a discussion with the then deputy chairman of the constituency group that they were contemplating a runoff as part of the selection process for the Castries South constituency. And I indicated some concerns to him with regard to any potential runoff, given the state of the party at this time and the current issues that we're currently dealing with at this time. And I was hoping that we would have had further discussion with respect to these matters before we actually progressed into a selection of a candidate, if in fact that was necessary. So that is where we were. So I was really taken aback while on platform in Gozile, sitting next to our former leader, Mr. Stevenson King, to learn that I was involved in a runoff at the same time in my constituency. So I felt it that it was imperative upon me to make a statement at this time, because then a number of rumors have been circulating through all media, and persons must take cognizance of the fact that persons like myself, I spent most of my life out of St. Lucia. I worked for a number of regional and international companies and organizations, and that your reputation transcends not just the local boundaries but the regional and international boundaries, and persons have a lot of confidence in you and your abilities. And for them now to hear such a thing, because it came off that you didn't even secure a vote, but not that you were not present, and that persons were informed that you would not be participating, that can basically tarnish your reputation.
You indicated that you had certain concerns that you expressed to the deputy chairman of the constituency council. What are those concerns regarding? Is it that you felt that you wanted to continue on unchallenged as the caretaker for the UWP moving into candidacy?
No. You see, it's a democratic process, and usually before election, you would determine who is the person that the constituents think would best represent their interests, and at that point the party makes the selection, undergoes the selection process. And also you would want to know, you select the person who could best represent not just your party but the interests of the constituents. The thing about it now is we know we are actually in court with respect to the boundaries. We're not quite sure whether we're going to be having 17 seats or 21 seats come next election. We're not quite sure exactly what is going to happen with respect to our party for come next election.
How so?
Well, there are a number of issues that are currently plaguing the party at this moment, and I mean, it's being dealt with. I mean, there's persons make an issue of leadership. We have no leadership issues. These are not the issues at all. Alan Chastney is our leader of the United Workers' Party, and there's no question about that. But there are other matters which need to be resolved within the party, and all these issues should take precedence over a candidate selection process.
You had very strong language in your press release, and you called the selection process a farce. Why do you think that it's a farce?
If you're going to put me into an election process, you would inform me that this is going to take place on that day at that time. You will afford me the opportunity to make sure we are both on equal footing if we're going to go into any contest, to ensure that there's no bias to any particular candidate. You understand? you would not involve any group with one candidate and not another. You make sure this process is as objective and as unbiased as possible. And
so do you think they were trying to sideline you, marginalize you, totally erase you from that process?
No, I don't think so. Because you see, it's not the individuals. You see, the 20, 30 or 40 members of a constituency group is not your entire constituent. You understand? Yes, they are the supporters of the party. They're the ones who would assist you in making an assessment of the constituency because you are one individual. 40 persons will have a better insight into our constituency than one person would. So yes, they play a tremendous role, a very vital role in enabling you to feel the pulse of any constituency. And therefore, yes, they have their role.
But I'm trying to understand why you would not have been told that this was going on that evening, because you, I did read in an article that you quoted you as saying that you are working along with the party in refining and getting the selection process in good standing. Now, we've heard from Alan Chastney explaining, as well as the chairman of the party, explaining what that selection process entails, which means that people must come and they have a submission of 7 minutes and so forth. So there's a process. So I'm trying to understand why you were not involved in that new process at all.
No, I was involved in the initial when they spoke to me and told me. You see, I've always told persons, Alan Shasta has done a tremendous job in reorganizing some of the structures within the party, in establishing some of the rules, regulations within the party, and we have to compliment him for that. And the thing about it, but processes are dynamic. You have to keep going and reviewing processes, because a process that may seem adequate today may tomorrow seem obsolete, given what the dynamics has changed. So yes, there is the process, and the process is still in its embryonic stages. We just implemented these processes, and we have to see how they're working. And we've had 2 runoffs in before, and both of them have ended up in controversial results. So there's need now to review that process, because and any process, once the individuals have consented to the process and consented to participate in this process, then one now cannot turn back and say, hey, listen to me, there's this process, I participated in it, but I'm slighted. One can't say this. But where this process is not clearly defined, and the boundaries, rules and regulations are not clearly defined, then it leaves room for interpretation or for subjectivity. And that is going to be the problem.
Are you now saying that they need to revisit what happened during the selection of Mary Isaac and perhaps nullify that and redo the process?
No, well, that is really up to the executive of the party. I just simply want them to know my views, let them know I'm still very interested in serving my constituency. I still am interested in representing the constituency. That a number of persons, we get visited on a daily basis by 3 or 4 individuals who really want you to continue representing them, because as they've indicated, many persons now realize the value of what you did pre-election 2011 and now can appreciate the potential that you as a candidate had and the projects that you had proposed, and they can see, well, had you been in that position today, the constituency would have been much more developed than it is now.
So you still want to be considered as the candidate for Castry South?
I would like to be considered as a candidate, yes.
And stay with the CTV News. When we come back, one of Taiwan's best is on stage here.